How many of you all are still trying to recover from Vacation Bible School? Yes, some of you are. All right. Woo, that was a big day yesterday, a fun day, good crowd, lots of fun, lots of good learning for the kids. We're so appreciative. It was our first VBS here in the church building, and I look forward to onward and upward in times to come. All right, what's going on? What's happening? Give me some good news in your life. Give me some good news. Maybe you saw the grandkids, you got a job promotion, anniversary, birthday, anything. Okay, you've had a job interview and you find out the answer tomorrow. We'll pray for that, JD. We pray that you get the job that you're searching for. Wonderful. Who else? Yes, Carolyn.
I got to see my daughter Sarah yesterday in her ball team play in Louisville. They won and tied.
Well, very good, though. You got to see her. Wonderful. All right, that's good news. I like that. Anybody else? Yes, sir, brother.
You know, preachers talk a lot, and I'm one of them. Let me share something which I've already shared with you.
Okay.
I've been recruited preacher since 1990, still preaching the word. Been in. And writing books on those times. Just read it here. The Church of our Lord is gaining momentum by the power of God. I mentioned to you, I've got a slew, that's Tennessee talk. I keep files of all those 160 Church of Christ that I go in. Whether the Church of Christ is gaining momentum by the power of God. The reason being, in 1 Timothy 4, verse 2, he said, preach the word. Paul preached the word. Barnabas gave water, didn't say he preached to. God gave the increase. God is giving the increase at South Warren Church of Christ because the word has been preached here.
I agree.
God knows it, and he's giving the increase here. I had to say that. I had to say, I've got a lot of Church of Christ I go to that are. There's one in Adams, Tennessee. My brother Marvin Crouch, an older preacher. They are growing leaps and bounds.
Wonderful.
Why? Because he's preaching the word.
And to God be the glory.
To God be the glory.
And all of that. Sure enough. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, Jerry.
Our total yesterday was 82.
82.
81, I'm sorry.
81. Okay. All right. Very good. That's some good news. All right. We're going to get involved in our lesson now. We are in the midst of a series of lessons. It was a book written by Kyle Idleman. I've told you about that. The study of a study of Gods at War on that. All right. We got it up, fellas? Hit the button. Hit the button. I didn't turn it on. Hit the button. It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
Almost every time.
Every time, if you just turn it on. That's it. All right. Speaking of that, we're going to talk about turning on entertainment. See, we're going to segue into that. Did you like that? All right. In this series of lessons, we are talking about the dangers of idols, modern day idols. We started the series by mentioning the fact that idolatry is not an issue, it is the issue that we face. There are a lot of idols in this world that seek to take over our priority of Jesus being the Lord of our lives. We also mentioned in the second lesson that we serve a jealous God. That is to say, we serve a God who wants us to do well. He's going to be our advocate to help us to maintain our purity as Him sitting on the throne of our heart. And then we discussed the fact that we need to choose this day whom we are going to serve. We looked at the story of Joshua from the Old Testament book. And Joshua, as an old man, rallied the people of Israel after they had conquered the promised land And he says, you need to decide this day whom you're going to serve. He said, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Joshua 24 in verse 15. We must make a conscious choice as to whom we are going to serve. With these preliminary lessons discussed, we're going to now move into the various idols that we face, particularly in our culture. The God of entertainment. We're going to discover that the devil sometimes seeks to take a seemingly benign activity, such as entertainment, and turn it into an idol that we worship. And we need to know this because the devil seeks to devour us, okay? He'll use anything that he can to destroy our faith. He wants to devour us. 1 Peter chapter 5:8 says, the devil walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So he is not just wanting to hurt us, he's wanting to destroy us. His schemes and devices and wiles that he uses are limitless. Look, if you would, at Ephesians chapter 6 in verse 10. Paul is writing toward the end of his letter to the church at Ephesus. And he says that we need to rely upon not our own power, but God's power. In Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 10, he says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. That's important. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. That Greek word there for wiles is methodios. We get our English word methods. The methods of the devils that he uses, we need to be wary of, that we may stand against it. The only way is to put on the whole armor of God. He says our enemy in verse 12 is an unseen enemy, which makes it very difficult. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. We have an unseen enemy, the devil, who has a whole bag of tricks to try to get us to destroy our faith, that he might devour us, that we might not be useful for God. This is also found in 2 Corinthians chapter 2 in verse 11. One of those devices is to get us to place an idol on the throne of our heart instead of the Lord. That's one of his devices. That's one of his methods, his schemes that he uses. What can I do to interrupt their faith? What can I do to distract them from Jesus being the Lord of their life? And so, as I just mentioned, he can take a benign activity such as entertainment and turn that and twist that against us. And we're going to see that today. In this lesson, we're going to discover that there are many entertainment gods. Gods like the God of sports, the God of celebrities, the God of musicians, the God of gamers, the God of social media, the God of television, and the God of the internet. These can become gods? Absolutely. We're going to see how that unfolds. Let's look at some of these together. First of all, the God of sports. Americans, well, a lot of people, but Americans in particular are just overwhelmed and consumed by a love of sports. The combined revenue for the four major professional sports, that would be football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, is currently more than $25 billion a year on money spent on watching these four sports. And there are a myriad of other sports that people are involved in. Tennis, NASCAR, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things that it can become their God, okay? More than $25 billion a year. There's the God of celebrities. We live a celebrity-obsessed culture, needing to know their every thought and move. We have entire networks that are involved in the following and the pursuit of celebrities, who they're dating, who they're marrying, who they're divorcing, and so on and so forth, how many times they've been in rehab, and so on. And people are obsessed with that. Entire magazines that people consume more than they do the Bible to find out what their favorite celebrity is doing. The God of musicians. Certain musicians of every genre are elevated to the status of being a god because fans are willing to obsess over them. They obsess to the point where if you go to a concert, you can end up paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a ticket. That's an obsession on this. That's when that person becomes more important to you than God. All right. Also, there's the God of gamers. What do I mean by gamers? What do I mean by that? What are gamers? Make a living on video games or just the watching of video games. It's estimated that 1 in 10 young people ages 8 to 18 are addicted to video games, with extreme gamers spending over 50 hours a week at the controls of their game. I mean, they're just constantly doing games, obsessed with it. And it controls them. If you're a school teacher, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Was that right? Am I right? Janet, I'm looking at Janet. Yeah. You teach 5th grade? Yeah. And I imagine a lot of their conversation has to do with video games. Yeah, I guarantee you. And the God of social media. I'm going from preaching to meddling right here now. Oh, many people spend countless hours on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I mean, constantly they're doing this, and the whole world's passing by them. They are consumed with knowing everything about everybody, and they're on there all of the time. I won't say any more than that. I'll go on. The God of television. It's estimated that the average American watches between 4 and 5 hours of television every day. The God of the internet. Many people, when not on Facebook, go from website to website for hours on end. Entertainment can be a time consumer, all right? Now, let me say something so you don't misunderstand. If you want to sit down and watch a football game, it's okay. If you want to go and watch a movie, that's great. If you want to spend time on Facebook, that's okay. Don't think that any of these activities in and of themselves is wrong. It's just when it consumes us and it becomes a priority greater to us than God. If you start spending a lot more time doing the entertainment thing rather than spending your time on spiritual things, then there might be a problem that develops. We must be careful. It's a tool that the devil uses. You need some downtime. You need a break. You need to take care of yourself. You need to have some entertainment in your life. And that can become an obsession to the point where we don't spend any time with God. That's what I'm referring to. Entertainment in and of itself, not a bad thing. It's just when it consumes us to the point where we're doing that more than anything else. All right. When benign activities such as entertainment make it to an idol, we sin against God. Entertainment should never become the means by which we seek to find joy and fulfillment in life, and many people do that. You know who did that in the Old Testament? Who did that? Solomon. Solomon did that. That's exactly right. Solomon was distracted. He too sought entertainment. Let's look back at Ecclesiastes. Let's look at the book of Ecclesiastes. I'm getting there. Oops, too far. Chapter 2. See, this is not a new phenomenon. This is not a new tool that Satan uses. This has been around forever, but it's been in different forms. And the only difference now is there are a lot more opportunities to be distracted by entertainment. Man, when I was growing up, you were growing up, because some of you are as old as I am, you know there was no computers, there was no internet, there was no Facebook or social media, was there? There was none of that stuff. We had a television in our house, and we had 3 channels. Well, PBS, but that doesn't count. Sorry about that. I just had to say that. We had 3 channels, and I was the remote control. Hey, kid, get up there and turn that channel. Turn on CBS. I come back. No, I want to see NBC. There was no remote control. So we had 3 channels. There weren't as many opportunities for entertainment, which means we need to be more aware of this era in which we live in. It's an era in which it's all out there and an easy access to all of this, and it can become a distraction. Look at what was said by Solomon. He says, I said in my heart, come now, I will test you with mirth. All right, that's another way I'm going to entertain myself. Therefore, enjoy pleasure, but surely this also was vanity. What does vanity mean? It's worthless. I tried to find the pleasure in all of these things. It was a worthless pursuit, and it still is today. I said of laughter, madness, and of mirth, what does it really accomplish? I searched in my heart how to gratify my flesh with wine, while guarding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly till I might see what was good for the sons of men, to do under heaven all the days of their lives. I made my works great. I built for myself houses. I planted myself vineyards. I made myself gardens and orchards, and have planted all kinds of fruit trees. I made myself water pools from which to water the growing of the trees of the grove. I acquired male and female servants and had servants born in my house. Yes, I had greater possessions of herds and flocks than all who were in Jerusalem before me. I also gathered for myself silver and gold and special treasures of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers. Man, he's hiring his own entertainment. He's so rich. I acquired male and female singers, the delights of the sons of men, and musical instrument of all kind, bringing on the entertainment, in other words. So I became great, and I excelled more than all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. Man, life seemed like it was good for Solomon. He didn't deny himself any pleasure or any type of thing in his life. Whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure. That would probably be the statement of many folks today. For my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my reward from all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, and all the labor in which I had toiled, and indeed all was vanity and grasping for the wind. There was no profit under the sun. It was all a waste. All of that pursuit, he says. Man, I had it all. I expanded my houses and my servants and my lands and my gardens and I had all this entertainment at my disposal, and none of it had any worth or meaning. There was no true pleasure or joy in those things. Solomon remained empty because he was pursuing the wrong thing. And we're going to talk about that. The God of entertainment promises joy and fulfillment, but only delivers boredom and meaninglessness. It's the same today as it was during the time of Solomon. You tried to pursue entertainment in whatever form it is, and you make that your priority in life, you're going to find a lot of meaninglessness to your life. That's not where joy is found. Look back at Ecclesiastes 1, verses 4 through 8. One generation passes away and another generation, he says, comes, but the earth abides forever. It keeps on going. The sun also rises and the sun goes down and hastens to the place where it arose. And the wind goes toward the south and turns around to the north. The wind whirls about it continually and comes again on its circuit. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place from which the rivers come, there they return again. All things are full of labor. Man cannot express it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. If you look at the end of verse 8, that's a key phrase there. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. There are folks today that they have to have something going all of the time. They have to be entertained. They have to be on the iPad, the internet, the phone, the television, or whatever it is. They've got to have that at their disposal. What happens in your house when the power goes out? Come on, be honest. Huh? Go to bed. Yeah, there you go. Now see, Jesse, that's a smart thing to do. But some people panic. They panic because they are so used to having access to all this entertainment and access to everything that they want, and now it's been taken away, and there's like, what do I do now? This is like living in the 70s or something, you know. That's when I grew up. And so they panic because they don't have those things at their disposal. Don't you know the companies that put out this entertainment are celebrating the fact that you're panicking because they know that they've got you and that you're relying upon this. I want to challenge us just sometime in the next few weeks, one time, just one day, 24 hours, no television, no internet, no social media. Just try it and see how you do. Some of you are going, I'm not even going to try that. I am not going to do that. I might have to talk to somebody, you know, or I might have to socialize or something like that. I might have to have a conversation. You know, families are struggling today, I think, for this very issue. All the family sits around in the living room and they all have their phone and they're all on their different social media or whatever they're doing, and they never talk to each other as a family. I know of families sometimes in the same house will text each other in the house. They'll text each other. Wow. Folks, we need to get up and go have a conversation with somebody and not have to rely upon that. Now, can be really good. I like texting. I stay in touch with my family in a lot easier fashion. My brothers and sisters who live, none of them live around here, and I like to text them and stuff like that. And some of these things are useful tools And it's important. And I'm not on Facebook, but my wife and I, in our conversation every night is this. Hey, I just read on Facebook that so-and-so's doing this. I said, oh, that's good. I didn't know that. Okay, and then she'll flip through and she goes, oh, so-and-so's having a baby. Or so-and-so's child's getting married. And, I learn things, and it's okay as long as it doesn't become an obsession. All right, let's go on from there. I won't meddle anymore. The key phrase in understanding everything we just read is under the sun, okay? That's a very important phrase. For our own spiritual well-being, we must come to the understanding that our joy and fulfillment in life will not be found under the sun. That means what man does, but rather in the one who is beyond the sun, and that's God. That's where fulfillment is found in life. It's not found in man's activities, it's found in a relationship with God. That's where real joy and fulfillment is found. And the devil just wants to distract us from all of that. And that's the way he does it. He does it through entertainment. And we're pulled away. And then we're gripped by it. We have to have it. We panic without it. And we need to make sure that that's not where it's found. Now, here's the solution. In order to dethrone the god of entertainment, not to be distracted by the world, two things take place. The first one I've already mentioned. We must power off the world whenever possible. We need to take time for God, and the only way to do that is to turn off the television, unplug the game console, log off Facebook, and use our smartphone as a regular phone whenever possible. We need to make sure that God gets the time that He deserves. Now, let me say this again. There is nothing wrong with entertainment. There's nothing wrong with taking a break from the world. There's nothing wrong with flipping through Facebook or watching a game or a match on television or whatever it is, the entertainment that nothing wrong with that, okay? But there comes a time that we need to turn off those things and completely focus on God to make sure that He is the source of our fulfillment and joy. He is the one that we can't do without. I can do without Facebook. I can't do without God. I can do without the internet, but I can't do without the church. You see, it's all a matter of priority. And that devil, man, he has just a way of saying, just a little more time, just a little more time away from God, just a little more time to do your own thing. And before long, he's got us in our grasp, and we're not spending any time with God. That's the way he does it. So we need to be smart and realize that entertainment, it's okay. Good entertainment's okay. Let me put it that way. Good entertainment's okay. But God must always be the priority. The second thing that we, I'm frozen. Am I frozen? It's on this time. It really is, I promise. The second thing that we need to do in order to dethrone the god of entertainment is to power on Christ. Matthew 12, let's look at that together. Matthew 12, verses 43 through 45. Matthew 12, 43 through 45. When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through the dry places seeking rest and finds none. Then he says, I will return to my house from which I came. And when he comes, he finds it empty, swept, and put in order. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. And they enter and dwell there, and the last state of that man is worse than the first. so shall it be also with this wicked generation. We need to clean out our hearts from a preoccupation with the God of entertainment if it's there. But when we do that, we need to make sure we fill that void with God and our priority in our relationship with Him. If we will make sure that God has the priority, there will not be room enough in your heart for entertainment to take over. So the key is balance. Entertainment's okay. It just is when it consumes us that it's not healthy. So I hope and pray that we'll evaluate our entertainment and we'll just be honest with ourselves. How much television do I watch? How much am I really on social media? How much am I on the internet? So on and so forth. And be honest with yourself. And if you find yourself saying, wow, I didn't realize I was spending that much time, then make a change. Clean that out. Move God back in to make sure He is your top priority. He is the one that rules your heart. Yes, sir.
Talk about television. In our day, it was wholesome television.
It was much better.
It's much better.
Yes.
Today, it's all mostly evil. Same way with internet.
Right.
You can, during the COVID, I went to church more than ever did on internet.
Yeah.
I had 4 or 5 churches I followed.
That's good.
And you know, you go in and listen to their sermons. So it's not the internet. It's the same example that was used in the Bible. It's not money. It's the love of money.
That's it. Right. And let me stress that as we close out. When we talk about entertainment, we need to make sure it's wholesome, that it's healthy for us. And if it's not, that's an automatic no, okay? And we know the things that are sinful and the things that are not. And we need to do away with the sinful, just so you remember that. And we need to be balanced in our approach to make sure that God has the priority. But thank you. That's a great comment, brother. Yeah, it has changed. It has changed considerably. There's some shows I can't even watch the promotional commercials to them. The commercials are bad enough leading up to the show. I would never watch the show. But anyway. But I won't name shows because some of you may watch them. Anyway, I don't want you to be upset. All right, anybody else? Anybody? Next week, next Sunday morning, Lord willing, we'll talk about the God of success, okay? The God of success. That'll be next week. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.